Hi, old guy in the shed here, hoping you're all well. As promised, I'm now going to go through one of my other bikes, which is the two-stroke. And here she is. This is the Benelli 250C, which is exactly the same as the Moto Guzzi 250. I think Benelli made them, and it was Guzzi that engineered them. As you are all probably aware, those guys of you out there who suffer with motorcyclitis, as I do, if you have the secondary disease that comes with motorcyclitis, which is two-stroke sclerosis. I do, sadly. Two-strokes are interesting because they are so simple in their construction. There's very little moving parts in there, but they are in fact two separate engines, because the old bottom bit there have to be sealed apart from each other so as they get the crankcase compression on each cylinder. So if you have a twin, it's twice as much trouble as a single. If you are nuts like me, you will go and get yourself a triple. I've got one of those as well, and that's 3 times the trouble. It's quite interesting. This is a beautiful little example of how to build a two-stroke, because it is extremely light. I took this for MOT so as I can get the number plate sorted, and the MOT tester weighed it twice. He did not believe how light it was. It's just a little bit over 100 kilos, which he just said is ridiculous. And that's where I think it gets its performance from. Very simple. We have the petroleum mixeroonies here. We have spark generated in here. We have it all going bang in the top. And that's pretty much it for a two-stroke. All the fuel and mixture comes down here first, lubricates all the bottom whizzy bits, comes up through transfer ports, sends it through and out the back in clouds of blue smoke, which two-strokes really are, to the environmentalists, the spawn of the devil. Not only do they burn fuel at an alarming rate, this will only do around 40-45 to the gallon, so you're burning an awful lot of dinosaurs. And to top it off, they fill the air with oil smoke, which I find hilariously funny, but nobody else does, but there you go. They are great to ride. This thing is so nimble, it is so quick. Back in the day, they said it would compete with an RD250, the air-cooled one, not the LC, which was a leap forward. But the air-cooled one, they reckon it would keep up with. And I don't know whether the performance is as good. It's pretty close, but where it did score was that it handled beautifully. It really did go very, very well. And interestingly enough, as opposed to bikes of the era, all these panels, they're metal, they're all tin, which is brilliant. I think it's actually no heavier than your plastic or fibre or whatever construction. The mudguards, stainless steel, these are all original. They haven't been touched. I got this bike literally as a rolling basket case. It was in a dreadful state. I had to unseize the piston out of one cylinder. It wasn't seized as in running seized, it was been left with a plug out or something, and it was just cold seized, if you like, or time seized, whatever you want to call it. Stuck. And it was a pig to get off, it really was. But I got it off. I sourced a pair of pistons from Italy, which were very economic. I then got it all up and running, and spent a hell of a long time cleaning it. All the paintwork here was all sort of stained. It was kind of weird, sort of ingrained, sort of weirdy, and just odd. So all I've done literally is clean this thing to death. As you can see, some bright guy decided that grotty black paint was the way forward. If any of you out there know of a pair of, or anybody that makes a pattern or replacement in chrome, I wouldn't mind doing that at some point in the future. It's not really necessary, the damn thing runs. So I got it all back together, got it all up and running, and I took it for a quick test up the road, and it just, as soon as I got rolled forward, it jammed and it stopped dead. So I thought, oh God, what's going on here? So I did it again, jammed, stopped dead. Put it in second gear and took off. It was fine. Second, third, fourth, fifth, great. Came back down the gearbox, put it into first, bang, stops again. Turns out it was going into 2 gears every time we selected first. And this little sucker was the problem. I don't know if you can see, but it's badly worn on one side. And it wasn't snicking in enough, and it was pushing into 2 gears, which was not a good thing, really. I found one of these. Company in Germany, brand spanking new, old stock, plenty of parts for these bikes if you want one. They're really pleasant to own. In their day they were way overpriced. Now you get a really good RD, it'll cost you a lot more than one of these suckers, I'll tell you. So these are like a good buy. Big downside, where they really did spoil it, and they spoiled the whole piece of kit, was petrol mix. There is no oil injection feed. That's a bitch. I don't know why they didn't really get around to it. They should have. They ran the bike for long enough, you know, they could have done it, but they didn't, which is really sad. But nice little features. These adjusters make life easy for your adjustment to your rear shockers. Like I say, everything on this bike is as I got it, but clean. I mean, all of it was just cruddy and crap and horrible. It's got little metal scars showing its age, bless her. But all in all, quite a nice bike. Done away with the indicators. I didn't do away with them, it didn't come with any. Well, I think it came with one and that broke. So pretty much none. The electrics just didn't work, none of it. They had this very strange system. I had a 12-volt generator, a box under here that turned it into 6 volts for you, so you couldn't see where you were going. And it was just a disaster. So underneath here, I've now put a thing called a power dynamo, I think they call it, from an outfit in the Czech Republic called Vape, of all names. Bugger when you try to find them. You type in vape to good old Google and you learn how to smoke through a plastic tube. Cool. Well, hey, it works now. You get hold of it, you stick it in. The ignition is completely separate from the rest of the electrics. You don't even need electrics. The ignition just fires the damn thing up. Great. You then get 12 volt coming out of it. They supply you with a little box which is tucked away in here to feed the battery. But you don't need it. You don't need the battery. You don't want one. You can just fire it up and run the lights whenever. I like the idea of a battery because it gives you things like the horns easier, the lights just sort of work. I'll go through how it was wired at a later date. I need to just get that straight in the head for you. The non-stock parts are the switches. The switches was such garbage too. Well, not garbage in fairness, probably when they knew they were great. But when I opened them up to find out where the wires went or how I could rewire it, they fell apart. They were just, it had been carefully stored in a pond somewhere, and so it was in a bad state. So I just did away with it and rewired it with some, I think it cost me about 10-15 quid off eBay or something, the switch gear. Can't even tell you where I got them from. Can't even tell you that. But like I say, a little bit of cleaning, a little bit of touching up with paint on panels and things and tidying up, one thing or another, and I have a very serviceable little motorbike. Like I say, if I put Moto Guzzi on here, it wouldn't be out of place. You can put Moto Guzzi on there, not out of place. They just built these in a factory somewhere and slapped badges on them to whoever wanted one, I think. Really pleasant machine to ride. I took it for MOT, as I say. The MOT tester said, can I ever go? Because it was so light, and he's a nice guy anyway. He really is a good guy who, he's an enthusiast as much as he is in business. And he said, can he ever go? So he went off. Went down the road a few times, came back to that bike is hours of fun. And that is a very good way of describing the little Benelli 250 or Guzzi 250. It is just hours of fun. You wouldn't going to go far on it. It's a little bit buzzy. Certainly costs you a lot of money in fuel. Because like I say, 45 to a gallon out of a 250, it ain't great. The little 500 I showed you the other day that I own, the Falcone, is probably twice that. Having said that, it's probably twice the speed. So there you go. When I went inside it to do this gearbox repair, and having been in an awful lot of two-strokes over the years, I have to say this is one of the nicest built engines I've ever come across. The way all the castings are, they are beautifully done, everything fits together beautifully, there's no leaks when you're finished. It really is a splendid piece of kit. And if you can put up with mixing the fuel and the oil, and it's not too much grief for you, I would highly recommend looking at one of these things. If you're into two-strokes and you have some sort of masochistic tendencies towards your life and you want to just do your heading, this is the bike for you. It's kind of, I have a love-hate relationship with all two-strokes, and this one's no exception. Sometimes they just don't go, and you don't know why. You've got a spark that's fueling, you just don't want to really fire up. And when they do fire up, clouds of smoke everywhere. I kind of know why they don't fire up. I'm just not prepared to admit it to myself sometimes, which they're just flooded under here in the crankcases. So you just kick, boom, and off you go. And once you've done that, especially if they've been sat around for a week or so, once you've done that, they're great, they'll fire up every time, no problem. And so you can have a great deal of pleasure out of them. And as I say, that some of the pleasure is derived from the lightness, the nimbleness, the sparkly engine performance. They're really nice. Some of it comes from everybody else hates them, which I kind of like. I like the idea of people hating when I ride. Prevents them from bothering me, I think. So, yeah, two-strokes. Weird, very, very weird little things. I'm sure there will be somebody out there who will say they would never own a two-stroke. It was the last motorcycle on earth. Don't blame them for that particularly. I believe that having ridden around on something like the Falcone or my California, which are big lumpy four-strokes, very industrial kind of feel to them, jumping onto one of these things is just a hoot. And it just, again, it makes you smile and you enjoy it, and people don't know what the hell you're riding. More to the point, you don't know why you're riding it, which is absolutely ace. But like I say, it's a whole chunk of excitement involved in it, because they will chime in when you're not expecting them to, and they will literally take off like a scolded cat. Even for a 250, you know, they're quite good, sparkly sort of performance. And it does allow me to recollect my hooligan youth, because this is the sort of thing we had as kids. Most of us had two-strokes. Very few people had four-strokes, as I remember. They were all sort of two-strokes. There was one or two sort of guys who had things like BSA C15s and Tiger Cubs, but once you'd been on sort of Japanese two-stroke or Italian two-stroke, you didn't want a four-stroke anymore. They just weren't good enough. And I remember even round town, things like Vespers and Lambrettas, they were a different ilk of people back then. But even those little engines were good performers for what they were, you know, and you've got to sort of look at them and admire them a bit. But like I say, it is a shame that we lost the two-stroke in our lives, although I believe I read somewhere very recently that Formula One are looking at a new breed of two-stroke. That will be interesting to see if it falls into modern day. that'll beat the crap out of the electric sort of market, I think, in terms of fun. So there we go, Benelli, Guzzi, Motor, call it what the hell you like. I call it my hooligan era, and it is well worth owning just to remind yourself that you were once a hooligan, and how you enjoyed yourself, and motorbikes made you smile, and they still do, still makes me smile, love it. I hope to see you all again. I'm going to sign off again. If any of you have any comments to make, or any suggestions, especially if you know replacement pipes for this thing, I'll be very interested in that. Just drop a note in the comments section. Like I say, I will try and get back to him. I've had precious few comments. I don't know whether it's because my channel is utterly boring, or whether I'm filling in all the gaps for people and leaving them nothing to say, which I doubt. Or it's a case of the people who enjoy these sort of motorbikes, we all think the same, so there's no comment to make. And I do believe that could be the case. Like I say, everybody I know that has a collection, especially a great collection of motorbikes, we all are, we can say very little in the pub, because we all just sit and agree with each other. We like motorbikes. Where do you go from there? End of story. But anyway, I'm going to sign off. I'd appreciate a push on the like button. I'd appreciate a push on the subscribe button. Thank you very much, folks. Talk to you again soon.